In this video, we're gonna be talking about brushes. All right. Hi, welcome to Paint Coach. I'm Chris Fornatero, here to help simplify oil painting so you can get better, faster. So brushes. This video is gonna be completely different than any other video you've probably seen on brushes with oil painting, because I'm gonna keep things very simple. You know, only use what you need, and you'll find out what you need very quickly. Just like, that's just pretty much a general rule of thumb, I think, for any material is don't buy anything you don't understand. Don't buy anything just to buy it. You'll know what you need because you'll hit a place with your work where you want to push it to the next level, and you'll need the materials to do so. That's the way it's been with me for a long time. I never understood why, like, what the difference between like a $10 tube of paint and a $30 tube of paint was. Now I do know, but it wouldn't have been smart for me to do that back then because I didn't know and I didn't be able to use it. It's like if you wanted to get back in shape and start exercising, you wouldn't just right from the start do a workout and diet plan that's exactly the same as a professional bodybuilder. Is what the bodybuilder is doing good and working for them? Yes, but it's a different stage and you need to keep things simple. So what I'm going to talk about is just the basics today. And these basics can take you a long, long way. And I suggest just sticking to the basics until you need to branch out and get other stuff. And that stuff will come naturally. You'll be working and you'll feel the need for a specific brush or a specific color. You won't be able to get a certain texture you want with the canvas that you're using, so you'll need a different canvas. The biggest mistake I see a lot of people, they buy all these brushes. This is that happened to me. You buy all these brushes and then you start painting, and at the end of the painting you use like a quarter of the brushes. What's even worse is you'll start using the brush just to use it. Like happened to me. I saw a painter I really liked one time at a festival using this brush. This big long one, I forget what it's called. And so I bought one. I've never used it. Never used it because I don't know it's never just naturally come to me to want to use this. Maybe I should practice with it a bit or play around with it. So I'm still gonna go over just like the basics, just so when you're talking with somebody else about brushes, you don't sound like an idiot. There's three major types of brushes. There is a flat, where the top of the brush is flat. There is a filbert, top of the brush is round. And there's a round, it's the cylinder, you know, kind of like your classic brush looking shape. Now, which one to get? Up to you. I recommend just getting one of each, playing around with it. Now, size, it depends on what you're working with. You know, what size of canvas are you working with a lot of time? Like if you're only working on, you know, little 8x9 studies, you're probably not gonna need like a really big brush. You know, you're not gonna need a 10 or anything like that. I mean, you might, you know, there is the golden rule of brushes. Like, this is very important. This is very, very important. This is probably like the most important thing in the whole video. There's a saying, I forget which artist said it, but it is so true. The saying is, always be using a bigger brush than you think you need. I think that just means that if you can communicate what you're trying to with a big brush, with very simple, big, broad strokes, that's when you're doing something really good. And also, you're not gonna, like, your first time buying brushes, your second time, or your third time, whatever, like all these brushes that I have, like this is acquired over a long period of time. Don't think like you need to go out and buy like all these different brushes. Buy what you need, start painting, and as you go, you'll be like, oh, you know, it'd be nice to have a bigger brush. Or it'd be nice to have like a really, really small one for these fine details that I'm doing. Go about it that way. That way you're not buying anything you don't need. Like you're not going out buying a fan brush, because unless you're doing Bob Ross paintings, you don't really need a fan brush. At least I don't. The bristles, with oil paint, you're gonna need bristles that are stronger, stiffer, because you need to hold that thick oil paint, and it's gonna need to be, you know, applied to the canvas. Every single art store you go to, they're gonna separate the oil brushes from the acrylic brushes to the watercolor brushes, so you really don't need to worry about that. My favorite brush company I like a lot because they're very cheap. You can order online, you don't have to go to the store, they'll ship to you. The only bad thing is they're in England, so the shipping can get a little expensive, but the brush is so cheap, it's worth it. They're great quality. It's Rosemary & Co. brushes. I will put a link to that in the description. Another great thing that they do is they have artist sets. And this is what I did right when I first started, was I would see an artist who has a set brush set. And I would either buy that brush set, or if it was too expensive, I would just kind of pick and choose. I would see the list of brushes that they recommend. Another little tip also, side note, if you find a lot of artists that you like and they have workshops, most of the time they have a supply list somewhere on the internet, like a PDF or something of their supply list for their workshop. And so you can get that and you can see what brushes they use. Like, this is great if you just have no idea what brushes to buy and you need to be pointed in some kind of direction. Find like an artist you really like their style, see what brushes they use. If they're really good, they most likely have a brush set at some company. I will put a link to a couple from Rosemary & Co. in the link below. Some of them do get expensive because it's a lot of brushes and it can be too much. So like I said, I recommend like seeing the full list of brushes and just kind of picking the ones that you in particular would like to need. But the main thing is just knowing kind of the range of brushes that you should be looking at. All right, so cleaning your brushes. So day to day, like if I'm painting, like I got a painting right here, I won't wash my brushes at the end of every night. Like I'll make sure they're, get as much paint out with the paint thinner as possible, clean them on a paper towel, set them out. I use linseed oil, it's slow drying, so I don't have to worry about them like drying over overnight and ruin the brushes. That being said, I do get really lazy sometimes and don't clean my brushes for a long time. I do recommend like at least once a week washing your, get all of the paint out with turpentine. So for cleaning, I recommend getting 2 jars, both with turpentine. One's a clean terps, one's a dirty terps. And you clean your brush in the dirty one, wipe it off on your paper towel, clean it off in the clean one, wipe off your paper towel. And then once you deal with all your brushes, take them, and you can go out, there's brush cleaners out there. You can go to Michael's, any of these art stores, and there are professional brush cleaners and they work great and you can get them. Or you can use dish soap, works great. Put some in your hand. What I do is I'll squirt some dish soap in my hand, take my brush, and I'll just pull it. You never want to like stab your brush, especially even in the, when you're doing the terps, you're pressing it down at the bottom. Don't press too hard, but just get the soap in there when you're doing the dish soap, wash it off with warm water, and you should be good to go. Well, there's my video on brushes. Keep it simple. Don't buy things you don't need. Don't buy things just because you saw some other artists use it, and don't buy things you don't understand. Keep it simple. Let what you need organically come to you based on your particular needs. You'll know it when it happens. Trust me. If you like this video, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. You can also follow me on Instagram at Forza43. I'm Chris Fornatero here telling you to go get painting.